And we are live. Welcome everyone to the Comic Art Fans Plus YouTube channel. Tonight, I will be your host, not Bill Cox, but Matthew DiTullio. I am bringing on two new guests, one recurring guest that's been on the channel before and a brand new one to focus on. Alberto, what's going on, brother? Newell, hello. To focus on, put a little spotlight on the very first A2X at OAX 2026. Agent, how you doing, man? And I'm very excited because this is a passion of mine that I've gotten into recently. It's opened taking the blinders off for me just for comic art and getting into all different types of art and collecting. And something that I've become very passionate about in the past, let's say, 1 year actually since OAX last year has been animation art. The nostalgia of it, the amount of work it took to make these movies or shows. And I'm so excited that we are debuting A2X at OAX in 2026. And we're going to have some amazing vendors, some amazing pieces. First, I'm going to bring in a newcomer, first time to the channel, exhibitor at OAX for A2X. I'm going to bring in Eric, aka Keyframe Collector.
Thanks.
What's going on, Eric?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for coming on the show, man. I'm super excited we were able to make this happen, and I'm even more excited to have you at OAX and at the end of February this month. How you feeling?
Dude, I am so hyped. They are not ready for what we're going to bring.
I love it, man. Look, I even wore my Dragon Ball Z shirt and my Dragon Ball Z hat tonight. Yeah, exactly.
We're matching.
Complete nerds, from the top to the bottom. That's what I love about it. And next I'm going to bring in a guy that's been on the channel before. He was actually on Collector's Cash episode with me, and he does a little bit of comic art, comics, animation. But I wanted to bring in StreyFlexin, aka Yaniv.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Excited to be here. Thank you again, Matt.
Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, this is going to be awesome, and I'm very excited to not only from my end see all the art that everybody's bringing, but I'm also excited because we were just kind of talking backstage, and we'll get into both of your backstories, in a second. And then, guys, attending the chat tonight, we will also be showing some inventory that DiTullio Art Collective, Keyframe, and StreyFlexin will be bringing to the show. But the thing we were kind of talking in the back room is there's never really been a place for this, just for this. There'd be, some animation art at a comic book convention, or, you'd see some animation art at maybe an anime expo or something like that, but never, full booths of it and people really putting that focus on it. So, let's start with Yaniv and then we'll kind of go to Eric. But Yaniv, for you, you've been going to conventions for a really long time, picking things up, and to be able to have a section, just dedicated to animation art, whether it be Hanna-Barbera stuff, Dragon Ball Z, anime, Marvel, DC, give me your thoughts on that.
Dude, it's going to be like a kid in a candy store. I am super pumped for this, not just to set up there, but just knowing the talent that's going to be there, because I know all the animation dealers that are going to be there. I know Eric, Josh, Brandon, my friend John's coming down, hire him.
See, this is the goal, Newell. We are going to get you hooked on animation.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We were just talking right before the show. Some Comic Cons will have, very few minor small pieces here and there, kind of little odds and ends of animation pieces, but not like a full-on booth, and usually no high-end pieces. So this is going to be really exciting. The ones that usually go to private sales, auctions, all the really spectacular Dragon Ball sales, Disney sales, Marvel, DC, stuff that you just never see is going to be here at the show for people to buy, look in hand, ask questions. A lot of people are still getting into animation art, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. And all the dealers, I already looked at them all, they're all super vetted, so they all are very knowledgeable in terms of that. So if you have any questions, they're all going to help you. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Just to have that much quality and quantity of animation art has never been done before. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and Eric, what about you? What's your thoughts, brother?
I think this is a milestone for animation art. I think we're really putting it on the map and getting it out there to people. And like Yaniv said, this is the place. If you want to learn about it, ask us. We've been collecting for quite a while, and we've been in the hobby for some people like myself over 10 years. So we've seen a lot and what's out there. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and you know, obviously I am as well. But one of the things that I don't want to get overlooked is, you know, there's a lot of comic art collectors coming. And, you know, for me, I always knew about animation art. I knew you could buy those things. I knew they were out there, but I didn't know where to start. And I knew that there was a lot of different avenues and there was a lot of different, you know, aspects that you needed to know. And my big thing, if anybody's ever listened to me prior on any of my shows, when anybody asks me anything about original comic book art, getting started, I always say, like, do your research. That's like my step one. So I did a lot of research before getting involved. And I think one of the coolest things that we're going to be able to do during this 2-day experience is that people are going to be able to learn about animation art. And, like, you know, just the vendors that we have are some of the most educated, been doing it the longest. And, like, if you have questions or you want to know, like, this is the time to ask, this is the time to get that information. And, like, just like in the comic community, you know, in the animation art community, I found just some amazing people that have really helped me, like, along my journey. Learned a lot from, you know, asked Yaniv a lot of questions, you know, Brandon, Bro Namath, Celu, Zeno, like a lot of those guys, Hand Drawn Dave, Sketched Out Collectibles, some of those guys, like, I've just been kind of following them on Instagram and reaching out and asking questions. And now you get to meet these people in person. You get to see these pieces in front of you and you get to ask these questions. And coming from someone that's been doing it for 10 years, 15 years, you know, you get that wealth of knowledge, and it makes it just that transition of either buying or getting the information a little bit easier. So I'm really excited. You know, I said I'm going to bring some animation art, but the animation art I'm bringing compared to what you guys are bringing is, you know, is very drastic, but that's also a drastic difference. But I think that's also something that's really cool about this, is that there's animation art for all, you know, it's not just, yes, we're going to have some high-end pieces, but there's still some really cool animation art out there for $250, $300, $400. And, you know, it's kind of getting in the comic world where it's hard to find pieces like that for $200, $300. And I think that's something that I'm really excited about, is just seeing people getting their first animated cell or their first Doga or their first Genghis set, and knowing that that stuff's out there and available for purchase and going to be, you know, growing more is really cool. So, you know, Eric, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, Keyframe, and how you kind of came about this from, you know, the Great White North all the way up in Canada, finding animation cells, and, you know, how long you've been doing it, what got you into it, and what's kind of the main wheelhouse for Keyframe? Like, where do you kind of sit? So I'm going to let you take it from there and you tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, for sure, man. So funny enough, I found out about this hobby by complete fluke. So I was doing what every collecting nerd does, and you know, eventually at some point you look on YouTube at other people's collection videos and you drool and admire on what they got. And I was looking at this one guy's, it was a Dragon Ball Z like room tour the guy was doing. And he had, like, his room was nuts. Like, he had action figures all over the walls, like still sealed in the mock cardboard. He had bed sheets, pillowcases, you name it. This guy had everything in his room.
Love it.
And it was a certain point at the video where, you know, he goes to pick up this plastic sheet looking thing, and it's like Garlic Jr. on this celluloid. And he goes about and talks and says, you know, this is an original animation cell that they used to make the show. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? That you can own a piece of the show? Like, you have history in your hands?
That's the moment right there. That's it.
And that was the moment. Suddenly I just snapped, you know, like as Vegeta says, like,
yeah,
that was the moment that led me down that rabbit hole. And the rest is history. 12 years later, here I am, and I haven't gone back. I've been loving it.
It's amazing. And, you know, speaking of Vegeta and the moment that you're saying, I actually had that moment. This is in my personal collection. I have the moment where he just snapped. And, you know, as you're collecting these and you're picking them up, at what point did you kind of hit a thought of like, was it all for your personal collection originally? And then it turned into like, I got so much stuff, maybe I need to sell some things. Did you do the classic, like, at least I would say we all done in the comic community, where you do the pare down, and then you kind of go to just pillars, whether it's not to be your name, but just a keyframe from each arc,
Right.
or what's kind of in your personal collection, and then what's kind of in the inventory, if you will.
Yeah, I think it starts out pretty much the same for every new collector in this hobby. They want to get stuff of their favorite character or their favorite scene or their show. Like, they don't really care like the quality of it at the start. Like, they're just so excited to have or own this stuff, right? So that was kind of how it was for me. Like, obviously my guy's Vegeta, like a lot of people are. So I had to make sure my first piece was Vegeta. I unfortunately don't have that piece anymore, but I do have a lot of other cool pieces. And yeah, you just kind of get to, as you mature more with your collecting goals, like, at least for me, I tend to focus more on quality now than quantity. So, I mean, the word keyframe collector, it's, keyframes are usually the more higher end stuff. So whether that's like the first frame in the shot, or it's like an iconic moment in the show, or just a really, really high quality draw, that's typically what I tend to go for.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's slowly narrowing it down, getting more of that quality, and enjoying that stuff. So here's the first kind of piece I want to show you that I got last year. It's one of the top 3, my most favorite pieces in my collection at the moment.
Let's see it. I'm excited.
And for every Vegeta fan, you're going to know what this is.
Full screen here. Hold on. Okay. Oh, come on.
Damn.
Yeah.
So
the face, the smirk right there is just incredible.
Smirk, yeah.
And the infamous smile, the shit-eating grin that we all know and love. Yeah, and this one's oversized, so it's a little bit bigger than your typical standard cel.
It's bigger than your head, Eric.
I was just about to say, it's literally your head size. Like, perfect. Wow,
it's great. It's awesome.
Beautifully. Really cool.
Yeah, and it's awesome that it came with the matching Duga as well. Like, I'm just absolutely thrilled with this piece.
Incredible, man.
That will be at the show for everybody to see. Now, will it be for sale? Probably not, but
well, you bring a couple things to show. It's no problem, but I think too, like, where we have A2X stationed is also really cool for this year at OAX, because we have the new seminal room where the auction used to be. So when you go through, if you were familiar with the show last year where David Palumbo and Julie Bell were set up, that's going to kind of be where A2X is set up. And like I said, I'm new to the game myself, so I'm looking very much forward to getting over and talking to you, Eric, Yaniv, talking with you. But like, I'm seasoned enough to know that it's like a murderer's row of people that are bringing things. So like, some of the stuff that you only get to see maybe at Amanda Roque auction that you didn't even know made it over to the States. So for me, even having the opportunity to see that in person, but not to buy it, because the light bulb moment for me with animation art was exactly what you said. For you, it was that I can, and it's still, I do this, I have no problem admitting that I can pause the TV, and I can hold up that, and I'm like, this is it. This is like the moment that
I own that.
Yeah, and it's such a cool thing to do. Like, it's very similar to comic art when you get the cover and you get to go in and pick it up from the store, or you remember getting it from your LCS. Then you're able to lock down the cover and you either frame them together or put them next to each other or whatever it is. So it's just one of those things where getting the opportunity to own that moment in the show or in the series, that part of history, and then also maybe not owning it, but getting to see it. You don't get to see a lot of these things. So I think that's really cool. And, having A2X where it is right when you walk in, having its own area, I'm just really pumped. I'm super excited to see the diversity of what everyone's bringing. And, Yaniv, you and I, we've talked before, and you've been in the animation art game for a while as well. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about StreyFlexin, not only the animation art stuff you do, because you also do original Golden Age art, but a little bit about what got you into animation yourself.
Yeah, so I definitely started as a comic art collector, started as a comic guy, then went to comic art, some political art, illustration, And then once I found out about animation, I was hooked. You know, I think it's going to be reiterating the same point, but the fact, like, there's the moment where you realize what that is actually screen use. They took a photo of that, and that's what you see on TV. Like, once you realize that, it's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, you own a piece of the TV, you own a frame. Like, it's nuts. So, and what's really fun about this hobby in particular is it doesn't have to be too expensive to really have fun in it. There's a lot of nostalgic
really
pieces I have that are just like, I just remember that scene as a kid. It's not an important scene. It's not nothing special about it. It's not necessarily valuable, but it's just like, it means a lot to me. I just remember seeing that as a kid. And it's like, oh, it's cool to own that again, right? So I think that's what's really a lot of the fun of it. It's a huge nostalgia factor in this, more so than some of the comics and comic art. Obviously, there is nostalgia of that too, but I just feel like, I don't know, for all of us nerds who love watching TV shows, cartoons, like, I don't know, it just brings you back. So it's really
it's exactly what it does.
It
brings you back to that moment when you were on the couch, on Saturday, or you were up late on what was for me, Toonami channel 46, Cartoon Network, from 10 to midnight, watching Ronin Warriors, Zoids, Dragon Ball Z, Mobile Suit Gundam, all those shows. And, for me, I would be at the front of my bed closer to my TV so I could have it on low volume so my mom wouldn't hear me listening to the, animation shows that I was watching later at night because I was supposed to be in bed. But it was, it's such a cool thing. And I remember seeing some of these scenes. And then as I got older, I, stuck with anime. And for me, like, some of my favorite pieces in my collection for animation art are from Naruto. Naruto was very, big part of my life, still is. I watch it all the time. And some of they're not the main character. It's not Naruto or Sasuke. It's just those like moments that I remember throughout the show that were like special to me, and able to get one of those. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. And as you said, there's room for everyone to play in this space. You want to go and spend, $100K, you can do it. But you can come in here and for $200, let's safely say $500 and below, and get some really amazing, really cool. And the thing I stress is that it's art, like it's hand drawn or hand painted. It's
all original.
It's all original. It's so cool that those when I really think about it, the amount of time and effort and persistence and like precision to bring an animated movie like Akira to life, or Vampire D, or the Dragon Ball Z movies back in the day. Like it's just incredible what these studios were able to do, and how many talented artists they had working under the umbrella to keep cranking them, because it wasn't digital like it is now for something like Solo Leveling, which I love, but a lot of that's done digital now. Back then it was all traditional. And I think it's going to be very, very just interesting to see all the different art that's available, whether it's Doga, Ganga, cels. I know that there's some recently I saw maybe at a heritage auction, there was like an oversized poster art that was like created for a Dragon Ball Z movie. And like, there's all different things that tie into that. So I'm really excited. Harmony cels. Yaniv, the last time we were on, an Aura cel, that had the very like detailed hand drawn aura around each character, which was its own layer. I mean, it's just so precise, and I love it. The more I've gotten into it, I've really, really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to just kind of opening some people's eyes, whether they want to buy or not. I think just coming and seeing it is something very powerful.
It is. And I really think what got a lot of people into it, at least comic guys, or at least the art guys, were like, comic art's getting pretty expensive now. I mean, it really is. It's hard to get quality pieces without breaking the bank. And when you look at animation art as a whole, it still is relatively affordable. I mean, you can get killer pieces under, like you said, $500, even up to $1,000. You can get some really nice pieces in your collection that are special. And it's getting very hard and harder to do that year by year with the comic art. So I feel like there's still a lot of room for the animation art to grow. And so for people wondering, oh, is it too late? I don't think so. I think it's just the beginning for them.
I think we're just starting, and there's some very big sales out there in the past, and some that just happened. I mean, what did the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan just go for?
Yeah.
Oh, that was huge.
Was it 30,000? I don't even.
Like, 35, 38 or something.
35,000. Yeah. So let's just say 30 grand. I mean, that's incredible, right?
Eric got outbid. That's why he's smirking.
But I didn't know you were the one that was outbidding. That he was bidding for it. But
I was actually the underbidder on that one.
Well, I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. Obviously,
yeah.
But like the thing is that in that same auction, there's cels going for $400. So you have, you have such variety. It really comes down.
There's a huge range.
Yeah, character, moment. And also with two guys like you on here, the condition of the cel is something that's very important. That's not always the same as comic book art or illustration art or, magic art. For me, my thing is if I own a big painting back here and one of the corners is like dinged up and it doesn't affect the art, I don't really care. That's, it's pretty much, it's normal. My thing that I learned a lot of was kind of about the conditioning of the cel and how to take care of them. So I'll pass it to either one of you. Let's talk about, one of you can talk about how you take care of yourselves, what the maintenance is, and then the other one can tell kind of the chat about vinegar syndrome and what happens when things stay, in an envelope for a long time, year after year for 20 years. So who wants to go for maintenance and who wants to go for vinegar syndrome?
I'll do maintenance.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's some people who do the whole frame stuff and have like, they separate the layers in between the cel layers. And like, I'm not into that. I keep it very plain, very simple. Get you one of these. It's called an DiTullio art portfolio, completely acid free. And you can have the cel inside of this. I usually put the cel in a clear plastic bag first, and then I put the bag inside the portfolio. In terms of, ventilation, letting them breathe, you can do it every month or two. You can change the bag, even if you want to go really extreme. I find as long as you're changing the bag every 6 months or so with these cels, that's plenty. And if you're going to have multiple of these art portfolios, you're going to want to stand them up. You don't want to stand them flat, because then the weight of all the other binders or the weight of all the cels that you have in them can, press down on other cels, which is not good for the paint. So kind of have them standing up like a bookcase. Change the bags every once in a while. Maybe take them out, let them air out for a day, and put them back in. For the sketches, though, that's a little bit of a different story. They're not as high maintenance as the cels are, I guess, if you want to put it that way. The sketches you can frame. I have them on. Actually, you know what? Let me pull up one of my sketches right here.
Yeah.
So this is a big piece I have hanging in my room.
Jesus.
This is Super Saiyan 3 Goku.
Come on, let me make you full screen. Hold on.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah,
I love the silver inner matting.
Yeah. And I also got a little plaque on the bottom there that says what movie it's from.
Fusion Reborn.
Series. But yeah, this is one of my craziest pieces.
Very cool.
When you look up Super Saiyan 3 Fusion Reborn, you see this image all over Google.
Pass the mic. If I can step in, I use the BCW treasury bags and boards. Yeah. That's what I personally use. I'm not sure if that's what Eric uses himself, and I also use the same thing. An DiTullio portfolio. I just use an 11 by 14 or an 11 by 17. That way, some of the pans, the larger stuff, will fit in. But I also, you said something about what I do for my personal stuff, especially some of the stuff that's already a little bit older. Even the difference from 80s to 90s is a big stuff. I just set an alarm on my phone, and once a month I take them out. I go grab my portfolio. Yeah. I take them out. I put them in my art room right over here to my right here. I let them air out for a day, day or two, and then I, put them back in. I've never changing the bags is something I've learned. I've only had stuff for a year, so I haven't changed the bags, but I've also been very thankful nothing is stuck. And I know that, keeping a proper humidity also helps. Yeah. So, things like that. I actually saw Marcus in the chat, like, what type of humidity can these be volatile at? I mean, I wouldn't keep them in a sauna, and I wouldn't leave them outside in the cold, but normally just in your house and running a dehumidifier, could definitely help.
Yeah. You don't want the air to be too humid where there's moisture, because moisture is a really bad catalyst for these cells.
It'll accelerate it.
Yeah. So you want it to be relatively dry and cool. Like, you don't want it to be an ice box, obviously, but you know, just normal room temperature. That's not going to be super humid.
No. Bag or protects clear sheets. So I'm not quite sure I understand your question. Bags or protector clear sheets. What happens when it smells?
I'm gonna grab the bags I use.
Yeah, sure. And then why don't you tell us a little bit about some vinegar syndrome, and
so I'll jump in on that.
Yeah, please.
Because I just want to make this clear real quick, because not all cells can even get vinegar syndrome. So it's really only specifically the acetate cells. So that's why you see like a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff, like the Batman animated series, like it's never an issue. No one talks about it. It's not a big deal. Now you still need to maintain them. They could get faded, right? So any art, I mean, even obviously colored pieces, paintings can be susceptible to fading, of course, but specifically the cells, you don't want to keep them in front of like UV light at all. Like obviously no sunlight, no open windows.
Yeah.
It might seem obvious to us as like veteran collectors, but you know, a lot of people still don't realize the damaging effects it can have.
Yeah.
You know, usually it looks like we're all pretty smart with where we display our stuff. You know, keep the blinds closed, of course. You can use kind of UV protected glass, different things like that. But specifically, it's the acetate cells that have this process, since they're made of acetate, that over time, depending on the conditions it's kept, you know, could accelerate it, which we were talking about, the humidity, is it starts to bleed off acidic acid. And that's where it starts to bubble and starts to smell. And they call it's acetic acid syndrome, but they call it vinegar syndrome because it smells like vinegar. Like it smells like you open a bag of those vinegar chips, you know, salted vinegar chips. It literally smells like that, which thankfully it does, because it kind of gives you an idea of like knowing, okay, look, the cell is starting to do that. So you want to store it separately. There are some people now, like I think with Cell Oasis is one of them, where I think a few people in the community have sent themselves and they're able to kind of to fix it and revert it.
That guy's a wizard.
Yeah, so there are people that are definitely fighting it, but again, it's not something that I would be too heavily concerned about.
It's certain types of from cells. A specific era of that acetate.
It's specific era, certain types of cells. You know, if we're talking about really old cells too, like Disney cells, you know, I have a lot of Disney cells from like the 1930s and 40s, like Snow White and propaganda films. Those might have it too, because they use acetate cells, as well as like they're very old and they can get brittle and the paint can chip off. That's where restoration comes into play. Like I'm diving in pretty deep, but you know, why not? We got all the info out there. So you will see sometimes a lot of the older cells sometimes have like faint crack lines in the paint. And it's kind of normal for what it is, for the age and for the wear. Just like Golden Age art, sometimes full of stains, you know, like the board is all stained, it has rips. I mean, it's something to be kind of expected with some of those pieces. Obviously, if you get a really pristine example, that's great, but I don't think it should deter people that are looking for that kind of stuff, at least on the older side of things, because those are just really hard to find in general. Restoration isn't too common in animation art. It does happen, especially for the Disney stuff a lot, because again, they weren't handled the best. Disney used to sell cells in these Crevassier setups where they would just like kind of gloss them, and it didn't help the cell. So they didn't know what they were doing back in the day, and so they would laminate the cells, and so that didn't help at all. And so some of those have been restored, or like they would usually trim around the image, stuff like that. But that's kind of
speak of the devil,
normalized. Yeah, they do happen. Even for Dragon Ball stuff, I mean, if you think about it, the studio, when they make these cells, especially the backgrounds are almost always trimmed. Like there's these big backgrounds, and they won't even finish painting till the ends. Like I have some backgrounds you'll see, it's like all unfinished paint, and a lot of times when the studios store them, or when they kind of put them aside, you can see this is untrimmed. You can see the edges of the background there, and even then, sometimes they actually go out even more, and they just kind of cut it.
You see that? Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's its own amazing piece of art, right?
It's a piece of art, yeah.
It's incredible, dude. I love it.
I mean,
like,
think
I'll show you
some
something.
of the funnest things to collect.
I just got for my personal collection, and it has. I'm starting to dive deeper into the backgrounds, because I think when I first got into it, I really wanted the cell, right? And now I'm getting to the point where like now I want the backgrounds, or I want this background, and like as I said earlier, Naruto is, you know, you need to go off of your example about they didn't always paint to the end. Like Naruto did a lot of stuff all like digital. They just did everything was colored digital, but season 1 through like 3, there was some physical art, and I was able to get one. And again, it's a background, but it literally puts me like in Konoha, inside of Naruto, and I love it. And it's not like a finished painting, like you were saying, but it puts me like inside of Naruto. Like dude, that was what the building inside the village hidden in the leaves looked like. And it's a, stunning piece of art on its own. And I don't, have the exact cell that goes over this background, but like I have ones that are close and I put them over and they look really cool. They look great. So
they do. It's kind of crazy that the amount of detail that goes in these backgrounds to be shown on TV for, a second,
5 seconds,
a fraction of that.
Yeah,
like, it just blows my mind. And like the backgrounds alone, like you said, they're art pieces in themselves. Like you can frame them. Like it's.
And I mean, honestly, if you're a big cell guy and you don't want to get into the backgrounds, also just putting a printed background on it looks really cool. It completes it out. But as I've gotten more into it, the backgrounds to me have really become much more of a portion of what I'm looking to collect than I thought when I first got into it a year ago. And I love the backgrounds. They're super cool.
Yeah. Dude, the backgrounds are super fun. They're more, I would say, nostalgic and sentimental than even the cels itself. Because like you said, it places you in the scene. And some people just collect backgrounds. And sometimes the background is all you see. So for instance, this is pretty cool. You guys will appreciate this. Folks will like this too. Yeah. Let me show you guys. This is pretty neat. So it's not Dragon Ball, but a Marvel piece here. So this is a background from Spider-Man, the animated series, episode 10. So first Venom episode. And you could see, so here's the background. It's all painted. They added a cell layer. It's not necessarily a cell, but it's just like a printed line. So all the text is added on top. So if you remove it, which you could see here, let me just fix this. You could see the background before that layer.
The acetate that goes over to put all text. It's its own amazing piece of art.
So that piece is interesting because in the show, when they go through it, like there's no characters, no cell. Like that is a full finished piece. So sometimes backgrounds is everything. Like it's the final piece, rather than just being a background. And then I have one more cool background that I'll show, or two more. This one's fun. This is from a Disney World War II propaganda film. Again,
okay,
it's like
Newell's in. Here we go.
So
that's what you need full screen.
It's just a background, but oh my god, is this kind of like, look at that.
That's crazy.
It's World War II, so it's showing victory. I think this one's victory through victory through air power, which was like kind of like a 40-minute short film about how we went through air power, dropping bombs on the Axis power. And this is after they destroyed a power plant in Nazi Germany. There, it's destroyed.
It's so
awesome. It's crazy and done by Disney, and it's a background. But look how powerful that is as a piece of art alone. It doesn't necessarily have to have a cell on top. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that's another fun one.
I was about to say, it's just one of those things where like it blows my mind, as Keyframe Eric said, like when I would watch Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which I've watched 150, 200 times. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I've seen a couple people that I follow on Instagram post the backgrounds. And I know what it's from, and I know that it was on the screen for like 2 seconds in like a flat shot, and then it like moved on. When you see the work that went into it to make that, but that's what made those movies and those shows amazing, was the attention to detail. So just really, really cool stuff. And I think the history, the nostalgia. Okay, now we're talking.
Sorry, I just wanted to show
everything nice, and a little Chemical X, the Powerpuff Girls.
So this is a cool multi-layer cell. So you got the Powerpuff Girls, you got all the characters in the background, and it has an original painted background too, which matches again like very like just classic, just like early 90s cartoon backgrounds. It's great. It's just fun. So there's so much. Here's one more Spider-Man cell. This is fun. Also has an original background with the building.
Oh, that is so cool.
Dude, look at that. Well, he's got the 4 arms, if you remember that episode. Where he
oh my god, yes.
Yeah. And like this is called like a book cell almost, or like a book background, where this is its own painted layer, just the building, to give it some sort of like 3D effect. You could see just this Just this part here.
That on the, oops, sorry, Eric, I meant to click Yaniv. Just that portion that's vertical there.
Yeah, just that piece, which is really interesting.
It's like a
multi-layer. It's a separate. Yeah, it's a separate painted layer than the background, which is blue. You can see. So, yeah, it's interesting.
All right, if you're going to show Powerpuff Girls, I'll show you my guilty pleasure from when I was a child. If you're a 90s child, this was it for me, and I just added a couple. What about Quail Man in the Silver Skeeter?
Dude.
From Doug.
That is a throwback. That's awesome.
Wow.
I literally used to just love Doug. It was one of my favorite shows, and like I saw him come up at one of the auctions. I'm like, why not? And it's a printed background. It's not a real background. It's just something that was put on there to make it look nice. I think this was like $120. I like couldn't pass it up.
Why not, right?
It made me, like, as I am now, it made me smile. And it needs more pork chop. Well, I don't have one with pork chop, but I do have this one, which has Doug with the Quail Man eyes, which I always thought was cool. It's my only two Doug cels, but yeah, I got them in the same auction, couldn't pass them up, and it was the same thing. Like watching that on Nickelodeon was something I just loved to do as a kid. And when I now have the ability as a big kid to be able to buy them, it's not even a question. I'm like, yes, I will add a Doug cel to my collection. So it's really cool. So whether it's for the cel, for the background, whatever it is, it's a piece of history. And I think that's what the most important. And now we're going to see a lot of very high-end pieces of history coming out at, A2X inside of OAX, but also, I'll show a couple things I have, and then I'll pass it off to the big guns, because you guys are a little bit more, let's call it higher end than me. But I'm bringing some stuff that I want everybody to just kind of know, like there's all levels. There's, all different types of, wherever you want to land, you can get in. There's a lot more animation stuff than you would lead to believe. So like we're going to be bringing, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Splinter and Shredder. All this one is a printed background, but the cel itself is beautiful, very detailed, and it's got that classic, Ninja Turtle vibes. Going to be bringing a full,
Mr. Stark
shot of Iron Man classic here. This one is a painted background, so that's really cool.
Yeah, that background is beautiful. It's a lot of
very nice, like Hall of Armor in the background with Tony. Then I'm bringing some DC stuff. So like you said, I've got some earlier stuff, that wasn't done on acetate, that this version of acetate that would have a problem, but this one also comes with the matching, Doga to go with it. So I was big Batman animated series guy growing up. Got a really cool X-Men cel, and this one is a keyframe master background. So this was when they were in the tunnel, going for the Morlocks, and this background was used a lot through multiple shots. Then you got the Wolverine that goes over top of it, and then I'm bringing a couple anime things, but I think that's going to be more you guys. But I'm going to be bringing Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. Really cool. It's a painted background, but a non-matching. So it's just a background I was able to find that I thought looked really cool. Then I'm a big fan of Hunter x Hunter. I feel like it gets overlooked sometimes. So no background here, just a double layer cel. One layer has Hikosa on it. The other one has Gon. Might find a printed background to put that on, but I believe this was when they were fighting in the tower to go all the way to the top during the show. And then this one is one of my only Dragon Ball Z cels. I'll probably have 5 or 6, but I wanted to bring this one because I think it's a little unique, not nearly as cool as the stuff you guys have. But I've got a Super Saiyan Goku in the Saiyan armor.
That's a rare form for Goku.
Yeah, so you don't get to see a lot of Super Saiyan Goku, and you don't get Super Saiyan Goku in the Saiyan armor. So I thought that was really cool. Obviously, there's a lot of cels of Goku out there. He's the main character, but you don't get to see a ton like this. And this is also a hand-painted background.
That's sweet.
So, that background's cool.
All the stuff that I'm bringing, besides honestly the Goku, it's all sub $500. 600 or close. I just think it's really cool stuff to own. So I've just been kind of stockpiling it and buying and really trying to keep my ear to the ground whenever there's some cool cels coming out. So DiTullio Art Collective will have some animation art, but I don't think as much as Keyframe or StreyFlexin. So Eric, why don't you show us a couple of the things that you're going to be bringing?
For sure, man. We mentioned we were talking about pieces with aura layers before.
Oh boy.
So this will be one piece that I'll have available for sale. For any Vegeta lovers like myself, this is Super Saiyan Vegeta.
Wow,
it's so tough.
The separate aura layer.
Yep.
So
how cool is that?
That's sick.
A1, baby, I love it.
A1, B1, man, doesn't get better than that.
Nope.
And it has the matching.
You want an A1?
But yeah, I mean, cels of Vegeta in this form, particularly from the first debut episode where he transforms, are pretty hard to come by. He was only in GT for about 4 episodes, but the very first episode he transformed was at the end of the episode. So that'll be a really cool one to showcase, and that'll be considered like a lower end cell.
That was when Bulma was pumping him with the Blutz waves out of like the tank, dude. I'll never forget that.
He was getting juiced, man.
Yeah, he just had a little gear and he
was on the roids.
Yeah, a little natural moonlight, and he was fine. Yeah. He could do it. I remember that moment in GT because I'm a Vegeta fan, and I always wanted him to surpass Goku, and like for him to get up to that level, even though it wasn't canon at the time, it was a real big moment. So to see something, Super Saiyan Vegeta 4 is really cool. Like I will definitely be over to take a peek at that. Hey, Hermit Style, how you doing, man? Yaniv, what about you? Let's show me a little something you're bringing. We'll go back and forth.
I'll show some more stuff. Just real quick, I did see a comment earlier that I want to touch on because I think it is important. It was asking about COAs because I get that question a lot, right? So I sell these, and Eric sells these. I'm sure he gets tons of these questions. So I want to address it because it is important. And the main thing behind animation art is most of them don't have COAs, right? A lot of things don't. Kind of like comic art, right? Like sometimes when new people get into comic art, they might ask, is there a COA? At least published art, not really. If you're buying it from an artist representative, obviously you're getting it from the source. That is as good as a COA. You're buying it from a legitimate, auction house or a trusted seller. But some do. Usually more of the American ones that have been kind of like, I'd say commercialized, that the company actually went out and either hired another company to sell them for them or had a studio to sell them. So like, for instance, like here's just an example of what, a Space Jam COA would be like. So there's Space Jam, and then here's, the Space Jam drawing. Here's another one. I just wanted to touch upon it because a lot of people ask this, and I would say 0 of the Dragon Ball cells have COAs. I've only seen like, Monterake used to do some certificate when you buy it. But as long as you could track provenance, like, who owned it, if you could screen match it, that's very important. There aren't many fakes out there. It does exist. Obviously as any hobby or any piece of any commodity goes up in value, people would like to try to get in on that and make fakes, but it's very easy to tell once you're kind of been in it for, like Eric's been like over 10 years, you could easily identify what's legitimate and what's not. And always the best way to check stuff is to screen match it, right? To find it on the screen if it has been actually published or not. Sometimes you'll buy cells that they haven't been shown on the screen. They could be like rush cells, so like they did it, but they didn't actually include that in the episode. So that happens, or an unfinished movie or something. So here's another cool Space Jam piece from Michael Jordan.
Cool. Dude, wait a second. Bring that back. Let me see that. Bring that back. That was from when he was doing. That was when they were doing like the cartoon. When if Jordan lost, he had to go to the mountain.
Yep, the nightmare sequence. God, yeah, he's got the ball and chain. Yeah, so I had a whole sequence. And he's kind of walking with the ball and chain. Yeah, so I'll bring some other stuff too because I do. That is incredible. But I mean, dude, we got so many big Dragon Ball artists here that are dealers here. I guess not artists. They didn't draw it. They wish, right? But
I wish,
yeah, right.
I wish I was that talented. But yeah, I mean, you got Eric, Josh, Hiram's going to be there, Brandon's going to be there, John, Pokerado. So there's going to be a lot of good Dragon Ball stuff.
Come on, we got to talk, Eric. A little Bulma action,
little waifu action for all you Bulma lovers.
Hell yeah! And is that a full set there? All three
Yeah.
of the or the four? It's the full set. Wow,
Yeah.
really
Full
cool.
set with correction and layout. Here's the correction.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Eric, touch upon the corrections.
Yeah, so the corrections are really cool. This is who, like, the people who drew the corrections are the supervisors of every episode. So you'll have like a team of key animators, a team of in-between animators, and then you have like the supervisor that overwatches it all to make sure that the sketches are in line with the character sheets or the character designs. And so, I mean, with Dragon Ball in particular, it was so low budget that Toei hired a bunch of different studios back in the day to do every episode because they were on such time constraints that they had to outsource them to all these guys. And that's why you see every episode doesn't look like the last.
Yeah,
like
Vegeta could look different.
Yeah, like
it's
the
more
art
pointy
style.
chin and the eyebrows are different a little bit. So it's kind of fun.
I also, real quick, just to tie into what Yaniv said about the COA, because I also would go back, utilize the community around you. Like, don't feel, if you want to reach out and ask someone. Like, there's more people are willing to help in this hobby than I've ever met. Of course, if they're busy, they'll get back to you when they can, or, reach out to them on Instagram and they'll try to help you. But like, if anybody ever feels like, I think Yaniv said it best, the screen matching is the most important. And what I always tell people too is to keep in mind is that the difference between I've had some people say, well, somebody else already owns that cell, or I've seen it. Like, the difference between cells sometimes can be literally one eyebrow or one eye looking in a different direction. So there may look like there's a lot of them out there, but they are different. And you can always look up at the top by numbers and to see where they would sequentially fall. But, once you're in it for a little bit, you do kind of get a feel. You can definitely tell, like, I can tell if I hold something now, the type of acetate that it's on, or like the cell, or if it's one of those like mass distributed, like, they did like the 500 backslash.
Yeah, the
cell,
limited edition.
The limited edition. Those are very different feeling than the originals. But I think it's just, do your research before you make any type of purchase. And always, if you're going to buy from someone, reputable dealer, reputable seller, ask the questions. But I think honestly, like, COAs now, it's gotten to the point where just anybody can print them. They can be made on a printer at home, any around. Like, at least for DiTullio Art Collective, I always say, you buy something from me, it's fake, you instantly get your money back, because that means it fooled me. And I think that's the best part about something like this and getting into it, is we're bringing comic art fans, is bringing A2X dealers to OAX that are reputable, that are vetted, that are bringing the proper things. So it can kind of be, you can kind of throw that a little bit behind you for your first purchaser, to see. And when you guys were showing, I did forget I had one other Dragon Ball cell. It does not have a painted background, but it was from a cool moment. This is when Goku is fighting Frieza and he
under the
goes under water to strategize.
Yeah.
And then he ends up throwing the two balls up and comes up. As Yaniv said, I remember this moment, and I remember thinking like, oh, Goku's running. And then you find out he's just down there and he's thinking about what he can do to try to beat him. And like, it brings you back to the moments in those shows, which is just the absolute best. That's the coolest thing.
I'm pretty sure that is the only moment in Z where he does like a double Kamehameha. Like, he has one in each hand, sends them flying.
Yep.
The only other time I think you see that is in GT, when Goku does like the 10 times red Kamehameha. But yeah, that's a really, really rare, important scene.
It's cool. Yeah. What about, you have anything else that you would want to show?
Yeah, I'll show some more stuff.
Sure.
Of course. I mean, come on.
Things. So Aladdin. So I got a whole I got a run of these, kind of like a nice little set.
Oh, my wife's gonna be on me. All right.
Scrooge McDuck and Donald Duck. So this, we're talking about like the older cells, like the Disney cells, how like over time they can chip. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. So a lot of the newer stuff you won't see that, but some of the older Disney stuff you will. But I think you made a great point actually, about buy from people that you trust. And I think COAs don't necessarily mean anything anyways. Anyone can print them, put their signature on it, looks official. But when you're buying from legitimate sources, I mean, they'll back their stuff, right? Like Heritage backs their stuff. We would back our stuff. I think you don't have to worry about anything, especially the dealers and sellers are going to be at A2X at OAX, like you won't have to worry about anything like that. They'll take care of you. But yeah, I'll show different things. I don't know if you recognize where this is from.
Yeah.
Which anime?
That's Afro Samurai.
Yep.
That's Ninja.
Yep. Afro Samurai.
That's very hard to come by because I don't know if you know, Yaniv, I have the number one headband tattooed on my leg.
You do?
Yeah, I'm a huge Afro Samurai fan.
Okay, I'm gonna go see that in person.
Yep. Oh,
just some more, more stuff. I'm gonna try to just flip through.
Yeah, just got
some more sets there. That's a rare character. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. It's because he's only in what, like half of an A episode, so that's very tough to find any.
Yeah,
some more examples. Nice Frieza with some aura there.
Full power Frieza, 100%.
Yeah, just some fun stuff I'll be bringing.
Great. Boo versus Boo
and then I got
Vegeta.
really rare, kind of crazy, random things that you don't like. If you're really hardcore into the lore of Dragon Ball, you might know. But like, did you know Ember made an appearance in Dragon Ball?
Wow. Yes.
Yep.
And the rarest character of them all.
Probably, yeah. He was like for 5 seconds. And he made obviously he made a joke about the blonde hair and the blue eyes. That's for Super Saiyans. He's like, I should be recruiting them. Obviously, they
that's incredible.
They made up
that is incredible. What a profile right there. Holy crap.
Cool profile shot. A lot of fun stuff. So
that would be nasty.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
some great stuff.
Whatever I'm selling, I'm just coming over to the A2X booths. I can already feel it. Yeah, let's come on.
Look at that face.
Wow.
Dude, that sells. Look at this. That's huge.
And the match. Wow, look at the Doga. It's so good.
You got the aura over airbrushed in green.
Yeah, show the Doga again. Show the colors.
I would say Broly's got to be up there as far as highly collectible, like right up there with Vegeta, right? He's got to be in the top 3.
Yeah, Broly, Super Saiyan 2, Gohan. Those are like 2 of the kings for sure. Gogeta.
Can you show that Doga again, Eric? The Doga was beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Dogas are cool because a lot of them, like when they're colored like that, you could really get. I mean, it's like another piece of art. Like it's really its own piece of art. It really is.
I like how he has like the Giga Chad chin going.
Giga Chad. It's the alpha of all alpha males.
That's right.
The Omega.
Yeah, it's incredible.
A little crazier one.
Oh,
it's a pan cell. Size. Yep.
This is a manga shot as well. The sketch is unfortunately stuck to the back, but I mean, look at that. It's just nuts.
That is incredible. About what size is that? Is it over a foot?
So I'll kind of compare it with the Broly for you. Yeah, it's just a little over a foot. But if I put them side by side, this is kind of the side.
Yeah. Wow. Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great shot of Ginyu giving him the elbow too.
Right.
Yeah, those pan ones are cool. So a lot of people, I don't know if you haven't been familiar with cell collecting, don't realize that the really long shots, right, where you're like characters, they're panning through their legs. Like, see when you watch on TV, like a character steps in the room and you see like it either goes like horizontal, sometimes vertical. It goes like from the feet, like who is that? And they're panning. Then you see their face at the end. So instead of like doing multiple cells, they just draw one long cell. They just draw one big cell, and then they take the camera and kind of pan above it. So that's a very fun kind of sub piece of animation cell collecting.
I have a very unique. Yaniv showed like a unique off the wall one. I have. Do you remember Aeon Flux?
Oh yeah,
on MTV. So I have a vertical pan.
Oh.
Of her, and I mean, it's just
headlights.
Yes, it's incredible, and it's a fully painted background.
That's
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the pan cells are some of the most
notes, but it was just I saw it, I was like, wow, what a cool pan shot. You know what I mean? Like, same thing. Like you said, it starts at one way, kind of goes up, or it goes all the way across, and it's just it's really unique stuff. I mean, the Ginyu getting Goku, like even the look on his face is just like it's just awesome. So I think it's safe to say we're gonna have varieties of sizes, animation, price range. between the A2X, the booths this year, which I'm really pumped about.
For sure.
Dude, this is gonna be everything. This is gonna be so much.
When you were saying about the Doga, and sometimes like when they're colored differently, you can kind of like see where it's supposed to be like coming to life. So I was able to pick these up, and I will have a whole binder of Naruto Dogas, but I picked these up, and I'm a big like the eyes of Naruto is what it did it for me. The Sharingan, the Byakugan, the Renegon, and this is early Neji, and it's a back-to-back. And it's like the frame before, and then right when he activates the Byakugan.
I love the veins.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And like it's the A3, A4, so they're back to back. Really cool. But like again, there's no painted cell for that. So like that's it. And I think sometimes the Dogas, especially in Naruto, there's some very detailed ones out there that have a lot of shading in it to show kind of the colorist digitally where it was going to go. So Neji the GOAT. I miss that. He's one of my favorites in all of Naruto. I'm a big Neji, Kakashi, Shikamaru. Those are my guys. But yeah, you get some really cool stuff, and I think we're gonna have, I have like something like this, where again, this is when Neji fights the like spider guy very early, and he's using like the rotation, and the spider webs are about to like close in on him.
Oh, cool.
And just the detail on the shots is just incredible. So I'm really excited for OAX in general. But, most importantly for me is I was very passionate about A2X kind of from the beginning. And I started getting into it really kind of heavily just after first OAX in January. So like this time last year was when I was really starting, and like it's been an absolute blast. It's led me to meet some really great people, both of you, and make some great connections and see like moments that like helped my childhood, as in like my friend's collection, like, sitting over, and I can like go and see it. It's just such a cool thing. So I'm really excited to have StreyFlexin, Keyframe Collectibles at OAX and A2X, because I just think it's going to be like kind of the stamp of like the first one. It's the launch pad of just more people kind of getting into this and understanding it. So anything that you guys want to make sure anybody knows. I would also like to echo what Eric said. If you're coming to OAX, get yourself an DiTullio portfolio or some type of portfolio. It's your best friend. Put it in your backpack. Carry it in your carry-on. A lot of 11x17s fit inside of a backpack or a carry-on. That's the standard size for comic art and would definitely work for animation art. The Topo Design, we need a sponsorship.
Plug. Yeah, you do. I'll buy another like 5 of these. These are the best. They fit 13x19.
Dude, they carry a 13x19 portfolio. When I travel, my wife always says your back has got to be destroyed because I keep the Neos, mine, and Ribich's or Bianchi's are on my back. It can fit 4 13x19.
Dude. Yeah. How else are we going to bring stuff to the show? Yeah.
There's probably 7 or 8 people in the chat here that legitimately sent around in an Instagram thread that I'm in that was like, guys, I found the backpack. It's for camping, but you all need to get this. We sold out. Topo Design sold out of the size that we were all looking for in like a day and a half.
Dude.
So I did the same thing. I bought 4 because like when my first
I only have 2.
I'm keeping them. I have 4.
I don't have any.
You got
to. You got to get them.
I could get you one. Topo Designs 40L. It's not an ad. I wish
40L.
But it's a great bag. It's a great bag.
It's the bag. It's literally the bag I use to carry art. Like
Hermit style. You got a great eye. This is a primitive Dragon Ball Z shirt from like 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't even know anybody would know what this is. Like, insane. But yeah, get yourself one of these guys. Get yourself a portfolio. And then most importantly, make sure right when you go through registration, you go into that room there, and to the left, you'll see the A2X dealers. We got some great guys coming, and Eric and Eve, thank you guys for popping on the show tonight. I think, again, it's the first of many, things like this that we're going to be doing. And I'm really excited for the comic art community, the animation art community, illustration art community. It's all coming together under one roof for a couple days. And even the amount of people that I've heard or seen in the chat tonight that I've talked to that are like, I'm bringing some of my stuff to show. That's like the best to hear.
Can't wait.
Right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, hey, I'm bringing this, but it might not be for sale, but I'm going to have it displayed. Like even to get to see some of these things is just going to be, it's going to be so incredible. I can't wait.
Yeah, the thing about animation art in particular, which is really cool, is that you don't know what's out there until you've seen it. Like you don't know what it actually exists, right? So like you
Thanks,
never
Tom.
know who's gonna show up with like a piece to like, holy shit, I didn't know that scene existed. Like Goku
Yep.
going Super Saiyan for the first time, this angle, like what? It's out there. So that's what's really fun about it is that you don't really know what's out there until you see it. Like that Hitler was the first one that's come up. Like me and Eric have been searching for years. It's like the Hitler from Dragon Ball. The first one's
Yeah.
come up in like, I don't know, 10 years.
All the
Yep.
years I've collected, that was the
So,
first one I've seen.
You never see, so you never know what's out there. That's what's keeping it exciting. So I think
I
it's
mean,
fun.
like I know how hard it is to find like Afro Samurai art. I've been looking for a year. I have one piece, like you have a Ninja piece. Like that's the cool part is like it's I think it's also going to draw some things out of some people's collections to show or to trade or to do. And like, you know, I'm looking forward to hopefully one day I get to see the 3-foot Broly or the panda.
Oh yeah,
you'll see.
So,
she'll be there.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool to just be able to go up and either get a picture with those things or see them in person. And I think we're going to open the eyes of a lot of people and a lot of just shine some light on a really cool hobby that's still got plenty of time to hop on the train and really enjoy it and collect your own way. So Eric, I want to say thank you, man. Keyframe Collector and Yaniv, StreyFlexin. Really appreciate it, guys. And be seeing you less than 3 weeks now, right?
Yeah,
for sure, man.
Coming up real quick.
I just saw each one of us had a little bit of panic. Like, are we going to have everything ready? But we're still fine.
Is it tomorrow?
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, chat. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. And I will be back on the Comic Art Fans YouTube channel tomorrow with a multi-guest segment for a lead-in show. And I will be interviewing for A2X or chatting with Poke Radar. So another cool person to have on, talk a little bit about the collection and keep getting some information out there.
Man.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Take it easy.